It's an issue that impacts everyone, since we all call this planet home.
It can cause like a tremendous damage and tremendous impact on a community.
But who feels certain environmental issues isn't always equal? This week we'll show you, from environmental racism and the White House's new plan to stop it.
Well, it took me about 10 seconds to fill out that form and reply. So I was first one in the state to reply.
To the efforts to protect firefighters from harmful chemicals. This is The Race. Now, if you're like me, you try to do your part. Maybe it's bringing a reusable bag to the store or buying a product that claims to be green. But the truth is, every product that says it's good for the environment or sustainable isn't. And that's why we talk to experts for this story about what you can do to avoid these marketing tactics and how you can know if something is actually good for the environment. The environment is often talked about in scientific terms. But you don't have to be a scientist to feel emotion when you see this. Emotion that can motivate you to buy products that are good for the environment.
We focus on clean beauty products, personal care, cleaning, and household goods for refill.
But as I learned during my time with zero waste store owner Brittany Isley,
I mean, eco-friendly, sustainable can really mean anything.
You have to look beyond the label.
What's sustainable about this? Is it the box that it's packaged in? Is it the product itself? Is it how it's made? I mean, we don't know. It just says sustainable. That's where, unfortunately, we kind of have to take the time ourselves to verify what those things actually mean.
She vets everything sold in her store to make sure it is truly good for the environment. For example, a company might be able to just put these logos on and say.
So take them with a grain of salt, right? Because anyone can put anything, for the most part, like this on their box. You don't actually know that it's true. I mean, it could say plastic free, but it very well could be wrapped in a plastic bag inside of here, which you would never know.
When you go to the store, I mean, how often do you see things and you see it being marketed as green and just knowing what you know it isn't?
I mean, all the time.
The Federal Trade Commission says companies that market their products as green and eco-friendly need to be telling the truth. But University of Denver business professor Jack Buffington told me broad terms like sustainable can be hard to define, and that opens the door for greenwashing.
Greenwashing is officially defined as a plan of disinformation to convince a consumer that something is more sustainable than it's not.
There are cases like Kohl's and Walmart. This year, both reached multi-million-dollar settlements with the federal government for selling home goods they said were made of bamboo when they were actually made of a synthetic fiber.
Yeah, so it just becomes so silly that companies can say whatever they want because people don't understand these terms like organic. And some company actually marketed that their water is organic. And if you understand anything about chemistry, you would know that organic means carbon-based, water is H2O. It's not exactly organic.
He worries companies with massive supply chains that rely on trucks, planes, and ships to move their products are too big to live up to promises like cutting down on carbon footprints because customers aren't ready to handle the costs that would come with change.
And we often blame the companies, or I think the consumers have to look in the mirror at themselves as well. Consumers want to hear about products that are green, but they don't necessarily want to pay the price for it yet.
While the environmental issues of our time can't be solved overnight or just with one person, Brittany believes in doing our part.
So, one person bringing in and refilling their laundry soap is better than one person not doing that. And if there's 100 people doing that, then really you're going to see more changes.
There's a new federal tool that's mapping out different areas of the country meant to help environmental justice. So it is really no secret that environmental hazards impact different areas and neighborhoods of the country differently. And this tool is meant to point out where those inequities lie. But is it enough?
On a hot June day, Robert Shobe flips through memories of what his neighborhood used to look like.
So you can see just what was between us and that building, how much space there was.
He's lived on Detroit's east side for 42 years and has been in his house on Beneteau Avenue for 26. But the past few years, he's been fighting a new neighbor.
It's changed from some place that we used to have quite a few little family events to nobody there.
Immediately behind his house is the first new auto assembly plant in the Motor City since the early 90s. While it brings thousands of jobs to the area, the painting that goes on here creates an odor that Robert claims goes far beyond being a nuisance.
You know, because asthma and different things since this project started. There's people who have flat out moved. They couldn't breathe.
The plant has accrued 5 air quality violations from the Michigan Department of Environmental, Great Lakes and Energy, or EGLE. The plant claims situations that led to those violations have not exposed residents to any constituents that would represent a health risk and have fixed issues that led to violations in the past.
See how it's cracking?
Tanisha Burton moved in just before the plant came. She's one of several neighbors who say construction has also damaged their house.
A lot of people just tired. They're tired going, fighting.
Burton and Chope are among a group of Beneteau residents that, along with Great Lakes Environmental Law Center, have filed a lawsuit against the state, saying the plant's proximity to the majority black neighborhood is a violation of the neighbors' civil rights. The suit is against the permitting process and the decision to allow the plant to be built. EGLE says it takes all complaints seriously and that it, quote, looks forward to the EPA's review of Michigan permitting decisions and processes to ensure that the state is doing everything within its authority to protect vulnerable communities.
When you're complaining about something and someone is saying it's nothing, then I mean, that's telling you you're nothing.
The residents say this battle is an example of environmental injustice, which is something that the federal government has recognized and is pouring resources into ending. This new tool could help direct funding to areas most in need. The Climate and Economic Screening Tool puts together data to show hotspots of the environmental hazards and the disadvantaged neighborhoods they impact. All the areas in gray, from neighborhoods in Baltimore, Denver to San Diego, are areas considered disadvantaged when it comes to resources, health, and environmental impacts. If you zoom in on Beneteau Avenue in Detroit, you see residents are in the 99th percentile for both asthma and low life expectancy rates.
If it was me and my neighbors and I was out in the suburbs someplace nice and the same thing was happening and we got pissed off, I think there would be change.
Advocates like Eden Bloom, who lives a few blocks away, say decisions across the country in the past about where certain environmental hazards were allowed to be continues to have ripple effects.
It's the same for folks in environmental justice communities, frontline communities across the country.
As the federal government recognizes issues like this across the country, the residents of Beneteau say they're going to continue to make noise.
Because that's the fact of the matter. We've been disregarded from the very beginning, and we're still being disregarded to this date.
I'm Vanessa Mishania.
From wildfires to hurricanes, the truth is natural disasters are getting more severe. We go inside a hurricane testing center to see how new improvements will help save homes and lives. You're watching The Race.